segues into the question that parents and kids are going to want
Sure,
to know. Where should
sure.
they go ahead and focus their time on this off season that's going to make them so
Mm.
valuable that their coach is forced to play them? They're handcuffed. They got to play them.
Well, I think for one thing, if there's one thing that they know already, that they are an asset and a value to the team, that they need to continue to take that to the next level, whether it's being more physical, making themselves a more physical rebounder, whether it be ball handling or whatever. But they also need to also kind of look at what their maybe some of their weaknesses are, and they've got to strengthen those as well. So the more strengths you have, I think the more situations you could be left on the floor, because if you're only a good defender and your coach needs to have some offense, well, he knows that, well, I can count on you to play good defense, but I need somebody that can score.
Okay, so
Or,
that's where my head was going, was like,
yeah.
it's like I think it's kind of a no-brainer, but or maybe something that's so obvious, like people are like, well, duh, you need to be able to shoot. It's just like shooting is like the number one skill, in my opinion, like that a kid needs to be able to fill it up, score at a high rate. And I don't know if that has changed over the years, but sometimes I feel like it's there used to be, I don't know, back in my day when I was playing, we had role players that it was just like sometimes they couldn't shoot. Their role was to rebound. And I almost feel
Yep.
like nowadays, I don't know what your opinion on that is. It's like now you got to be able to shoot. Everybody's got to be able to shoot to be able to hang on the court. What's your opinion on that?
Well, I don't know that everybody has to,
Right.
but you at least need to have two or three players that can score, with a high level of efficiency. And I think in a small high school, it's going to be rare to have five guys on the floor that can all score. And
Right.
so, but I do know it's changing at the highest level because I just saw a conversation that went on between Dan Hurley and Gino Oriama, the Connecticut coaches, men's and women. And Dan Hurley said, he said, I want tough kids. He says, but I'm recruiting offense,
I
which
saw
kind of
that too. I
surprised
saw
me.
the same one.
Which
He's just like,
surprised me. I thought, yeah, I thought maybe he would say, I'm going to get the toughest defenders, but no, he said, you win games with offense. And
yeah,
he said, I'm going out and recruiting tough players, but players that can score.
yes, I
And
saw the same thing. So, okay, so I think
yeah,
we've kind of narrowed it down, like what the number one skill in basketball is, the shot. So,
yeah.
like if a kid's really wanting, or a parent and a kid here, if they're listening to this and they're like, okay, I get it, I need to work on my shot. Okay, where does a kid even start? Probably right now, their season just ended, so they have the whole summer, they have the whole spring, the whole summer, all of fall. Like where do they start chipping away at this thing?
Yeah, well, like say for most people would think, well, I've got to be a great outside shooter. So they start thinking I've got to be able to, knock down threes, and they'll get out and they'll get a shooting machine out or whatever, and they'll just stand at the 3-point line. That's okay, but that's unrealistic as far as the game shots, game speed, shooting at different angles, all that kind of stuff. But let's say you've got a player that is not a great perimeter shooter, but they're a really good rebounder, and then so you get them, you know, uh, working on catching the ball coming off the glass and then finishing with different hands around the rim. And because again, there's going to be players are going to be playing closer to the basket and inside the lane or a high post or whatever. And there's going to be players that are going to be playing on the perimeter. And then as far as your perimeter players, they can't just stand at the 3-point line. They've got to be able to catch the ball, shot fake, get inside the lane, finish with different hands, floaters, Euro step, whatever. And so, they just have to understand that the game is not stand still, shoot this shot, or, and again, around the basket, there's always contact.
So
And you got to
really,
learn.
so really, I kind of what I'm gathering what you're saying, and I agree, is like pretty much figure out where you're going to get your game shots and try to
Right.
replicate them in your training. It
Yeah.
doesn't make a whole lot of sense if a guy is going to be getting most of their shots down around the paint or 15 feet to be jacking up threes in the offseason,
Yeah.
unless they want that to be part of their game for next season. Like if that's part of your goal is to stretch the floor by being a big that can also shoot, okay, then that changes things a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, and right now, like we have a couple kids that have reached out to me that really want to change their shot over the summer. Um, I think that changing your shot sounds good, and a lot of kids want to fix their shot, but I don't think they realize how much time, effort, and maybe struggle they're going to go through when they actually try to fix that shot. Because whenever they start seeing misses, they start to revert back to old habits and things like that.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
you know, any any messages, I guess, that you would send to players that they're going to start early here in the springtime and try to fix their shot for next season?
The earlier the better. I mean, don't wait until the end of the summer or even the fall. You'd have to get started right now. And it depends upon how drastic of a change you're talking about. And really, as you look at people shooting the ball, there's so many different ways that really good shooters shoot the ball. And so they might not need, and that's why they would need, somebody to, that knows the shot, knows how to correct it, some drills that they could do to take a look at them so that they can help them and help evaluate them so they know what to work on. It may not be as much change or drastic a change as they think. It might be a slight adjustment here, a slight adjustment there, and then, be willing to live with a shot that maybe doesn't look perfect form, but is a high efficiency shot that kind of fits the way they have been doing things. And again, I'm not saying that you should never try to break a kid completely down and then build them back up. But as you said, the number of repetitions and the special kid it would take for them to put that many repetitions into something starting from square one and
Right.
sticking with that process would take a very unique and special person. So, you want to try to meet them where they're at. And, you know,
So, yeah, guys, you're listening to this. No, first thing is don't wait. Okay. The second thing I heard right there, and I agree wholeheartedly, is get reps up. Okay. I mean, like if you're going to change your shot, think about how many shots you've taken over the years with this other form, with this, if you want to call it bad form or whatever you want to say, this other way. You've taken probably thousands of shots that way. It's going to take muscle memory, tons and tons of reps here in the off season for you to change that because it's going to feel awkward. It's going to feel weird. You're going to have misses. You're going to want to go back to your old way. But if you truly want to change that shot for the better, those two things, I agree with that. Start early and got to get a ton of reps up. And if you guys don't have any idea where to start, okay, then reach out to us here in the school community because we have a Fix My Shot drill book. And we can, if you guys send us a video, then what we can do is we can go ahead and give you an idea of where you should start inside of that drill book because not everybody should be doing the same drills to fix their shot. Everybody's shot's a little bit different, kind of like your fingerprint. So that's all I got. Dad, you got anything else before we let them go?
no, but this is right now, as the seasons are wrapping up for most players, this is really the most important part of next season is what are
Absolutely.
you going to do in the off season to try to, improve some of your weaknesses, make some of your strengths even stronger. And players that, again, don't pick a ball up between now and the start of the first practice are not helping themselves and they're actually getting left behind
Yep.
by the players that do. So this is a very important phase in